Hi guys, and welcome back to the LINA BHUDIA podcast. Please make sure to subscribe, like, comment and hit that notification button for more podcasts from me. So in this room there is a fucking huge spider somewhere. I just saw it. It was huge, no joke, and I literally looked away for a moment just to quickly set my mic down and set it up, and now I don't know where the spider has gone. It's disappeared. I've lost it. There is a big ass spider in this room and I have no idea where it is. This thing literally looks like it was on steroids, and that's making me a little bit anxious right now, I can't lie. So if I suddenly scream or become distracted throughout this podcast, that will be why. Just think about that, okay? And if you're scared of spiders, you'll know what I'm going through. You'll know what I mean. And so yeah, I'm gonna try and record this podcast in one take, or at the very least with minimum editing. So yeah, if Mr. Spider shows up, you're gonna get my reaction on this podcast. It literally makes me shudder even thinking about it, because it was one of those spiders that's got like quite a big body and then really long legs, like seriously borderline tarantula level. So anyway, I'm back on my microphone. The last time I used this mic, the sound went a little bit crazy about midway through the podcast, and I had to re-record the podcast, and I think that sound was caused, or the interference that came in through the sound was the fan on my laptop, which was quiet to begin with, but then midway through the fan on the laptop started to run, and I think the mic basically picked up on that. And so yeah, I think that's what it was. So I've moved the laptop away, I've done a test, and all seems to be okay. So hopefully I can get through this podcast with no issues. I hope. We'll see. I feel like I'm just doing a lot of hoping and wishing on this podcast. I hope the sound will be okay, and I hope the spider just disappears and never comes back. Bear with me, guys. This is just the madness of my life, okay? So anyway, I've been house hunting recently, and I basically thought that I would take advantage of the low interest rates and the stamp duty holiday. So there's nothing yet that's got me excited, so I haven't made any offers. I haven't even attempted to make any offers just yet. But first of all, it's wild how expensive homes in London are. Like, it's so crazy. And on top of the insane prices, why are people not looking after and maintaining their homes? Like, I haven't been to a single property that I would be happy to move into straight away. Like, there's always work that needs to be done. So the garden will be just a straight up jungle, and in some cases a junkyard. There are literally people using their back gardens as a place to just trash things, just leave your junk out there. We've got bathrooms that look like they come from the 70s. There's mould, there's stains on carpets, dented walls. I even viewed a newly decorated maisonette. It was one of the first properties that I looked at. Bearing in mind, this was a newly decorated maisonette that had clearly, I don't know if this was the first time it was being listed as a maisonette, so maybe it was a house and the developer just came in and turned it into two. maisonettes for the purpose of selling and getting more money out of it, or maybe there were originally just 2 maisonettes and both of them were redone and looking to be resold. I don't know, but it was a newly refurbed maisonette, and I mean, this property, it's like, I walked in, there were cream carpets that had clearly been walked all over with muddy shoes. So that already needed a super deep clean, and you never know how long the stains have been there and how easily, or if at all, the stains will come out. So that's already an issue, a cause of concern. And then in the bathroom, the door handle had basically dented the wall because there basically just wasn't a door stopper. So somebody had obviously just crashed into the room, hit the back wall with the handle and just left a massive dent in it. And the bathroom and kitchen walls were only partially tiled. And I was like, if you're going to tile the walls, do it properly. Where am I going to find the exact same tiles to finish your job now? So yeah, it was just like really sloppy, lazy work, but the asking price was still really high. Like, it wasn't much lower than a proper full 3-bedroom house. And this is a 2-bedroom maisonette. It just wasn't great. And the estate agent, bless him, he had no idea. He was literally doing that usual kind of blag your way through it estate agent talk. But I swear he'd just been dumped with doing the viewing, because he clearly had no idea about anything to do with the property. So like, we were in the kitchen and I said to him, is there space for a washing machine? I hadn't opened up kind of all of the drawers. I didn't know if I was allowed to touch anything because of the lockdown. So I didn't know if there was an integrated washing machine in one of the lower, what looked like cabinets from the outside. So yeah, I said to him, you know, is there space for a washing machine? And he literally just opens up the first cabinet, or like the first pull-out drawer right by the window. And in this drawer there was like just pipes and things for obviously the kitchen area. And he was like, well, you know, you could put the washing machine in here. You just have to arrange for these pipes to be moved up, and that wouldn't be hard. I'm no carpenter or plumber. I have no experience in that field. But let me tell you, those pipes would not have been easy to just like easily push up to be able to get a washing machine in there. And then I basically tried to open the next cupboard along from the one that he was telling me that I would have to move the pipes up in to get the washing machine in. And the next cupboard along, I couldn't get it to open. And he was basically like, oh, you know, there's nothing in there. It's just empty. There's nothing in there. That's not going to open. And then he pulled on the door and it opened. And he basically pulled on it from the other side to where I was pulling on it from. So these cabinets, they didn't have any handles. It was like the handleless cabinets where you just grab the edge and it pulls open. Lots of kitchens and bathrooms have those types of cabinets. So basically I was just pulling on it from the wrong side. And he opened it and there was a full-ass brand new washing machine in this cabinet. Like literally right next to the cupboard door where he was telling me I would have to pull out the pipes to get a washing machine in. I was like, oh my God, this estate agent, all estate agents, they're just on another level of bullshit, man. Madness. So anyway, I've been lucky enough to view 3 properties. So one was this maisonette and the other were 2 proper like houses, proper homes, full homes. So the maisonette was empty. One of the other houses was also empty. so social distancing wasn't an issue. But the last one that I viewed, the family was still in the house, so that was a little awkward. Yeah, it's not easy. So, if you are still in lockdown, or if you're still kind of social distancing to a higher level, I know some people are just acting like everything's back to normal, but if you're still on the cautious side and you're house hunting, that's definitely something to think about. Maybe speak to your estate agent and see if it's an empty home that you can walk into and look around, or if the family members are still going to be in there. So yeah, it was a little awkward having a family, and they also had some young kids in the house. I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. But it was too late by that point, and I was already in the house, so I just quickly looked around. But yeah, house hunting is a nightmare. It's so hard. Like, everything just costs way more than it's worth. Like, I can just about afford a house in the area that I'm looking to buy in. Like, I'm just on the cusp of being able to afford a home, rather than like a house, rather than a flat. But bloody hell, it's difficult, and I just don't have the funds to buy a house and then fix it up. So yeah, these rundown homes, these homes that haven't been maintained or looked after, it's just, it's a bit of a nightmare. It's a nuisance to someone like me who's trying to get on the property ladder and can just afford the house but can't afford to renovate the entire house afterwards. It all just adds up so much. It's mad. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be quite as difficult if it wasn't for the facts that we are still social distancing, and trying to view other people's homes is not great, especially in that last house where the family still lived. Like, they clearly weren't into cleaning the house, and I could literally feel my shoes sticking to the flooring. It wasn't great. Like, I just think, like, anytime that I've or my parents, anytime that we moved, we would always make an effort to clean up the house before any viewings happened. It just feels like the courteous thing to do. I don't like. What do you guys think? Leave a comment in the comment section below. But if I'm going to put my house up for sale, I would give it a bit of a clean to make it presentable and make it more attractive for people to want to put an offer in. But I mean, that's just me. I don't know if I'm just a bit too house proud. I don't know. But that's one thing that really kind of does my head in, on top of how expensive properties are. Just how some houses just haven't been maintained at all. So yeah, I need to get rich. But do you guys ever just go online and look at properties way out of your budget just for fun? I sometimes do. And even then, sometimes just based on the pictures alone, sometimes some of those properties seem not what I would expect for the millions that they cost. I don't know. How are properties priced? I just don't get it. And sometimes, just for fun, I will look at properties in Bournemouth, just because I would so love to live by the sea. And also, down in Bournemouth, I can actually afford to buy a pretty decent home compared to the shit that you get in London. Like, the house prices are just mental. And I really am so tempted to just leave London. Like, not even on the outskirts of London, just away from London. And I don't know, like, with COVID changing up the way that we work, I'm actually starting to think that could be a possibility. Like, there's some companies where people just aren't going to go back to the office now because the way that we've been working during lockdown has shown that we can still do our jobs even if we're not in the office. So I don't know what my personal situation is going to be going forward, but damn, if they said to me that I could do my job from home permanently, I would be out of London so fast. Like, don't get me wrong, I love living in London. I love the city, I love the restaurants, I love the diversity, I love the many, many things that we can do in London. But the affordability of London is just, it's a little too out there, I think. So yeah, like, if I could move out of London, I would. I really think I would. And I'm not even asking for too much. Like, if a house within budget has a nice kitchen, most likely I'm going to buy it. For me, just Bournemouth or somewhere close to the sea is where I would probably want to go live in the UK. Like, right now, I don't want to leave the UK. Maybe in the future I will, but right now I'd want to stay in the UK. But I do love Bournemouth though. So if you're from Bournemouth, big up to you. Big up to you. So yeah, sometimes just for fun, I do like to just go on to like Rightmove or what's the other one? Zoopla, and just look at properties way out of my budget in the millions. I would never book a viewing because I'm not going to waste someone's time. I just can't do that. But it's fun to look at the pictures online and just have a little nosy around people's homes through the pictures. It's just fun. It's just fun. It's, you know, it's good to imagine. One day maybe I'll get there. My God, there's still no sign of that spider. Like, where the hell did it go? It was so big. It was literally huge. It will be easy to see. And this literally has me on edge. Like, I don't like knowing that it's probably still in this room and I just don't know where. Like, where is it going to come crawling out of? Oh, don't know where it is. I still haven't seen it. Do you know what I'm really looking forward to though? The return of EastEnders. Yes. That is one show during lockdown that I have missed the most. I've literally watched EastEnders my whole entire life without fail. So to go this long without it, I feel like I'm having withdrawal. It's a piece of my life that's missing. Like, evenings without EastEnders just don't feel normal to me. So it's back on the 7th of September, and literally I can't wait. And I think they're going to be slightly shorter episodes, like 20 minutes, I think. But I don't care. I'd still watch even if it was just 10 minutes. I can't wait for it to come back and just see how they make their return and pick the storylines back up. And we know that they are going to incorporate COVID into their storylines. I don't see how they couldn't. So yeah, they are going to come back kind of just coming out of lockdown and things like that. But yeah, it'll be great to see how they pick the storylines back up because they left it on such a banger. The last episode was Sharon reclaiming the Vic from under Phil's nose, and that was such a good duff. What an epic ending to the show's pause. So yeah, I cannot wait for EastEnders to come back to our screens. I think it will just be something to help make it feel like life is getting back to normal. I know a lot of restrictions have been lifted, but I'm still being very cautious, more so because I live with people who are in the high risk category. So like, if I catch anything and pass it on, it's a bigger issue for them than it is for me, and I just can't do that. So yeah, slowly but surely back to normal, or the new normal, or whatever that is. I'm really surprised that we haven't heard more about what the new normal is going to look like. So outside of schools and restaurants reopening and kind of masks and whatnot, maybe it's too early to think past that, but I've mentioned it before and I'll say it again, but could this not be the start of us going cashless and just in general finding more hygienic ways to live? Just in general. I really think this is the time to take advantage of what's happening to enhance our lives in ways that we probably wouldn't have considered had it not have been for the virus. I really think that this is going to change our lives forever. And when people say kind of, the new normal, I literally think it will be that, like a new normal that one day in the future we'll look back on and go, oh, do you remember before COVID when things were like this? Or after COVID when we started doing this or living like this? I genuinely think we're going to make a shift, and we just haven't yet, or we haven't really started talking about that as much yet. But it will be wild if we just go back to how we were, like none of this ever happened. I think this is something that we should take advantage of. I always think that you can take something from anything. Like, this virus has been devastating and taken so many lives and put an end to so many businesses and jobs. But surely this should be seen as a pivotal moment that shifts the way we operate as businesses and as humans. So I'm really intrigued into what happens next. Like, how do we just go back to normal? How, what, who, what, when, how? I don't know, I'm just surprised that we haven't heard more about that, but maybe it's just too early. Who knows? So anyway, that's it for this episode, guys, and I'm glad that I've managed to get through this episode without seeing that spider. Maybe I need to work on my hospitality skills. Like, this spider probably came in to get out of the storms we've been having, and here I am hating on it. But seriously, that was one big ass spider. Has anyone else noticed in the UK that our spiders around the house are getting bigger and bigger? I swear they didn't used to be so big. But the past few years, it's literally like they've been on steroids or something, or some serious bulk up fitness program, which I'm not happy about in the slightest. So anyway, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for that little bugger, and that's basically it for now, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, turn on the notification button, and I will be back soon. Bye. Oh, and I'm going to be so annoyed if I play this back and the sound is fucked. I'm going to be so mad.